Anybody get cold last night?
I mean, my house is warm and cozy.
Bless your heart.
Ours is usually like 56 in the morning when we wake up, but that's what you get when you have the high ceilings and nothing. So
Yep.
All right, it's live.
It's Saturday night. I didn't know if I'd have a voice today. I've been losing it. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Are the buildings holding up?
Mine is. I haven't been out and about much, only about 4 or 5 times since the 4th of December, but yeah, I've been doing emails and voicemails, so I've been keeping up with things. Things seem to be pretty much as normal.
Good, good. Normal can be, right?
Yeah.
Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you.
Good. Good to see you.
You too.
So
Pardon me for eating chips.
Gone, huh? What'd you say?
Pardon me for eating chips. I did not have lunch and I came home and Kathy had made homemade onion dip.
So you're gonna eat on camera, huh? Did you bring enough to share with everybody?
Here you go.
You deliver, right?
No, come and get it.
All right. Bob, how are you? Can you hear me, Tom? It's all new to you, huh? Well, you'll get used to it. Good to have you aboard.
I was just calling you to see if you were having any problems, and it went straight to voicemail.
And you're muted.
Yeah, take it off of mute.
I did. I don't show that I'm on mute.
It took me 3 months to get used to
Tom
it.
Barcroft is
Oh, I'm not paranoid.
Well, I have 6 o'clock. You all ready to roll? Do we have a long agenda for this work session, or is it pretty short, or what do you think? We'll find out, right? We're waiting on Max. Max coming?
Max will be here.
Okay.
He's having technical difficulties at the moment, but he definitely will be here.
Okay. Somebody said she would be late for committee, so we'll note that. I'll wait another minute and see what's going on. I don't think we have terribly too much tonight for committee, do we? Anybody shaking their head? Okay.
Mr. Biggers, I do have something I'd like to bring up and discuss, if that's possible.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and get started then? And by the time Max gets here, we should be kind of getting to the meat of things. Mr. Mayor, are you available? I see a chair.
Hey, I'm available.
Okay.
Happy
You're up,
Monday.
sir.
I'm up.
You're up, sir. You're at bat.
You just forced me into this, don't you? A couple things we've been working on with the demo situation that we had down on Walnut Street. We revisited our demo ordinance, and actually you guys got that with your committee packet. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. Basically, it just outlines the actual residential, commercial, industrial expiration, and it just spells out the days that you have for the different types of demo when you receive the permit. Also, we're working on a taxi cab, just refining that ordinance. Basically, price increase, late fee, and also being a certificate holder for insurance. So if someone comes in and they say, hey, I have a cab and I want to, here's my insurance. Basically, if they cancel their insurance, we're going to be notified of that. One exciting thing, actually a couple exciting things. We have online bill pay, which you guys actually, Kaylee notified me today that she paid her bill using online bill pay. That is set up and we are live with that and want to invite the public to utilize that as a service. You can actually log on to cityofcoshocton.com and there is a link in the drop down, and there's also a link in the home page. First thing you see when you go down on the page. So really gives residents a reason to visit cityofcoshocton.com. Also offers the convenience to pay wherever, whenever, and I invite the public to use this service. It is very seamless. Actually, I did it over the weekend myself and really enjoyed. I have a long way to go to get to the utilities office from my house, but I did it online and tested it out and really liked it. So hopefully everyone in the community likes it. I think we might be headed towards the 21st century with file sharing and online bill pay and things. I think we're really moving up when it comes to technology. It only took a year to get that done. Actually, the first company that I dealt with didn't really satisfy their progress on that. So I headed towards another avenue, and the company who handles all of our software, which is Software Solutions, is actually the company who is in charge of our online bill pay. So it was actually one thing happened that led to another thing. And just, I think everything happens for a reason. And I think it worked out pretty well for the residents for having that convenience. So take it easy. I'm sure there's going to be some bumps and some hiccups because it's technology and it's human beings. And when you mix those two, it's not like a good cocktail sometimes. So we're just going to have to get through it. If you have any problems, feel free to reach out to our utilities department, 740-622-2626. They will definitely assist you. I know they're very helpful to me, but I guess they work for me, so they're really friendly. They'll like that shout out. We have Mideast Ohio Building Department available for the public in our building on the 3rd floor every Wednesday. Jason Bauman from Mideast will be here to assist contractors with any projects. He's up on the 3rd floor where the health department used to be. So kind of got my wish there. We didn't switch companies. We just got better service from the company that we were already using. So it will once again streamline the process. If anyone needs to meet with Jason in person or has questions, I will be posting a picture of him this Wednesday when he's back in, and the information on our Facebook page. Want to welcome Tom Barcroft to council. I really believe that it is a great addition. Tom has been around Tom has been watching, so it's not like Tom's like completely lost. He kind of knows what we're facing, you know, being involved with our town. I've worked with Tom over the past year, and I really like working with Tom, and I think it's a great addition to city council. And I know he will represent the people of our community well. And want to thank Jackie Salmons for her service on council. 6 terms is, you know, 6 terms, 6 times not getting beat's a pretty long time. So I want to congratulate Jackie. I know she is where it is warmer and nicer weather-wise, but there is no more beautiful of a place than Coshocton, Ohio. So I know no matter what the weather is, Jackie will say there's no place like home and move back to Coshocton. So I wish Jackie all the luck in the world. And I've spoke with Tom within City Hall the last couple of days, and I told him what were expected from me. That's a joke, Tom. And really look forward to things to come. Today, in conjunction with Our Town Coshocton, we posted to the City Hall's Facebook page a map of parking downtown, little growing pains down there. I haven't heard anything of downtown, and then boom, everyone calls and says, there's nowhere to park. Can they park here? Is there time limits? One thing that I asked the community to be aware of is we do now have doctor's office. The Genesis Family Clinic is open up on Main Street, and I would like to say that just be respectful that that is a doctor's office. So if there's a space you could park 3 down, that'd be cool, just to help, you know, someone who is sick, you know, just look out for your neighbor. We don't have reserved parking. We've been asked about reserved parking on Main Street for certain businesses. We have a map, as I said, on our Facebook page today with a letter that just basically says we're having a good problem downtown, and also here's where to park if you need to park. Anywhere downtown to me, if you park in the center of downtown, you could walk a couple blocks. I know if it's raining or if it's cold, it's horrible and we don't want to walk, but I think everyone needs exercise. It will be summertime soon. It will be spring, hopefully, and you will want to walk. So that's just, I guess sometimes with issues, you just get other issues. And I think a parking issue downtown is something that I want to hear about. I want people not being able to park downtown. I want, me and Max drove around the other day after we received a couple calls from business owners, and I counted 100 empty parking spots within the city parking lot. So there is plenty of room to park. It just might not be 3 steps away from where you want to go. So I just ask everyone's patience and just walk a little bit more. So that's really what I have for you guys on this nice cold Monday. Want to give a shout out also to Public Works on the work they've been doing, plowing snow and keeping the streets cleared off. I know my kids appreciate it because they don't get snow days and they have to go to school. But other than that, I think our guys, I think a lot of times people don't realize, once again, we have 4 guys and we have 3 trucks. Sometimes we have 3 trucks and 2 guys. It just depends on who's off, who's working, if equipment breaks down. So I ask the public to be patient, and we don't just run out and make snow disappear. So I feel your frustrations. Save a little bit of time. If it's bad, don't go out. So once again, common sense goes a long way. I like to say common sense is uncommon. So I will leave you with that note on our Monday. Is there any questions?
If the mayor has any questions before we go there.
I have a question.
Recognize a new, I was going to say a new face, but a familiar face. In the 3rd Ward, taking Jackie's place, Roger Moore. And I was trying to figure out how to say that, Roger. I didn't want to say an old face in the new position. So I'll say a familiar face in a new
That's
position.
old
Congratulations.
fine too.
All right, very good. Now, are there any questions for the mayor?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
On the demolition side of it, what about the Rock 10 former site? I know that we talked about them guys having to buy a $50,000 bond or something, and the site's still not cleaned up, and I think it's been over a year since they started to tear that site down. You got any answers, or I mean?
I think Max is probably more in the loop on what's going on at the Rock 10 site than I am. I know that we've had issues with different demolition companies. I think we're on our third demolition company right now. So I'm not sure as far as the bond that they're holding or how we can leverage cleaning that site up. But I'm with you. Something needs to be done.
Yeah.
That bond ran out 2 companies ago, Chad, and the guy actually committed suicide that owned that company. So I don't think we're going to be able to go after them.
No.
We're still in almost weekly conversations with the new owners. They're still talking about data centers. Dave Cadry and I was on a call with some pretty heavy hitters in that tech data realm on water cooling for these data centers. So right now we're hoping that they're going to make something go over there. So it's kind of where we're at right now on it.
Okay. You're on mute.
Anybody else? All right, we'll go to Max then. Sir.
Well, I'll segue into Mayor was talking about snow. We've used approximately 500 tons so far of salt already this year. It looks like we're going to get 4 inches more tonight. So we do have salt ordered that we've not paid for, but we will have to take. That's 400 tons, and we can always get our hands on another 1,000 tons for our winter deliveries. So we should be in good shape. That's $70 a ton. You hate to use it all, but we can't control Mother Nature either. So, and I will say, the plow guys been doing a good job. They work around the clock, and proud of them. You have a resolution tonight that I'd like for you to approve. It's for ODOT to make full depth repairs over on State Route 16. Obviously, they're looking at paving that this summer. They have to make, just like we do, the full depth repairs before they can do that. But since it's on our property, it has to have council approval. So they asked for just a resolution, and unless Bob says otherwise, I assume will be good enough. Let's like the update. The weather's kind of pushed us back some on getting the actual houses hooked up to our new lines. We did get the 5 insertion valves in to minimize any disruption to the village residents up there. So we're probably looking at being 2 weeks pushed back with what Tucson's doing on the interior lines. The antenna finally come in for the wireless connection. As you all remember, we put the big McWayne pole up to put that on, and that was one of the parts that, due to COVID, did not come in. It is here now, and they'll be installed by the end of February, and that'll allow us to read meters remotely. So that's what I have for tonight, unless you guys have questions.
Any questions for Max?
Max, I did have a resident contact me and ask me to thank you for having a property cleaned up. I think there was a couch and a chair and a 2-year-old Christmas tree that was in the backyard. So they really appreciated your work on that.
Okay.
And I also noticed the new street sign at White Woman Street. So I know that's something we've been looking to get done for a while, and appreciate you taking care of that. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Max, Mike here. Got
Yeah,
one
Mike.
question. I was approached by a resident in regards to the Sixth Street and Locust Street property. I think it said it was going into the land bank, or they tore the house down, and they were questioning and wanting to know if they was able to purchase that piece of property. And I told them I really didn't know. What would you have any thoughts on it I could pass on to them?
That's probably a better question for Mark and Jeff since they're on the land bank committee, but as far as I know, they can purchase through the land bank.
Mike,
Okay. Yeah.
Mike, Jeff is actually going to kind of speak of that, like right here shortly, directly. I want to say, correct, Jeff?
You said yes.
Mike, just so you know, when you talk to your residents, talk to Don Wells, we're gonna wait and see that closer to when we'll actually get grass to grow.
Okay.
So they've got it all leveled off and everything, but I know we say they have to seed immediately, but it's kind of hard to do with snow on, obviously. So,
Right.
and we did.
Okay, I have one other question. This is in
Mhm.
regards, like I said, kind of drive around the ward, take a look. But I think Jeff and I talked about on Fifth and Locust by the railroad track, the auto repair shop. That place is a real mess. I mean, they've had junk cars sit along that Fifth Street there for a couple of years now. I mean, they got that big camper sitting there with no front end on it. It's really getting unsightly. And I know there were some issues that Jeff brought up, but I mean, we made Dave Prince clean up his lot out there. I think this is getting a little bit out of hand. This really looks really bad. I talked to someone from the railroad, and they're not sure whether they own it or not. They thinking maybe that Stone Container or Rock 10 owned that at one time. I don't know.
Hey, Mike,
Or not.
that's actually some of our property and some of the railroad's property. So it's definitely on the list to get cleaned up. So.
Okay, that's all I have.
Well, Council, you might think about something I proposed several years ago, a city impound lot. That might be something you might want to take a look at, and we could see if there's any grants available for that. So I have some information, Mr. Mayor, I can turn over to you on that, on one that is already up and rolling, has been for years. So if you want to look at it, I'll give you that information.
Okay.
I'm in total agreement with you on that, Cliff. You know, as we cleaned up that South Lawn property, I think we removed either 5 or 6 vehicles.
Yeah.
Those had to be taken clear out to the sheriff's gun range. And I'm sure there's more than just those 5 cars sitting out there. If we could figure out a place to do that, hold them for so long and then scrap them, that'd probably be a good idea. So I don't know where that spot is yet, but maybe find something.
Just something to think about, Council. Let's want to throw it out there again. Okay, any other questions? All right, we're going to move to the auditor.
Good evening. Tonight I have 3 additional appropriations. I swear this is the most that I've had at any one time so early in the year, but things are just moving along here. The utilities office is going to be servicing West Lafayette and billing and collecting the West Lafayette sewer bills. So that's going to be some money coming in, and they're going to charge West Lafayette, I believe it's 6.75% that we will retain for the billing service. So with that said, I need to appropriate $387,000 to the sewer fund. And I have established a new line item. So then, the girls, when they process their stuff, we can remit the money back to the village of West Lafayette. So $387,000 for that. For the water fund, they need to make a little over $1,000 refund. It was a customer who just inadvertently overpaid. We've had that before in the past, but we don't normally put very much in appropriations there. But Becky has asked if we put $2,500 into the refund line item. So that is there. And then for the general fund, I need to appropriate $25,438.22. That is for the health department, COVID cares money that they're coming in, their grant proceeds that they're receiving from the county health department. So that way I can charge wages and other expenses that they have billed the county for. I can now charge it back to that appropriate line item if we can have those appropriations in there. So that's all I have tonight.
Terry, is that on the agenda tonight?
No, if we can
Okay.
just, it's fine to put this on for the 22nd.
Okay,
And just hopefully we can get it a past emergency on the 22nd then.
all right.
Okay?
I didn't see it, so I was wondering, that's good.
No, it's just stuff that's come up. It's, you know, no real emergency, but as long as we can get it passed before the month end, it would be fine.
Gotcha. Any other questions for Sherry? We'll go to the law director.
Yeah, I do have an update. The city has been sued by a local bank. And what we're talking about is the city of Coshocton, probably 15 years ago, through myself and my brother, created an ordinance that basically said when a property is sold in the city of Coshocton, the seller has to reach out to the water department and provide basically a certificate that shows that the water bill has been paid, because the water bill goes with the property. So in other words, if I were to sell my property and I have a delinquent bill of $500, whoever buys my property takes it with that bill due, which is the purpose of requiring the certificate showing that everything has been paid. So all the realtors have been following that ordinance for many, many years without a problem. The sheriff's department, when they sell property on sheriff sales, announce whether or not there's delinquencies. So everybody has been going along with that ordinance. To my knowledge, the city is basically the only city in Ohio with that ordinance. Recently, a local bank took back a couple of rental properties that had delinquent water bills on it, and they did not want to pay the delinquent water bills. We negotiated, tried to resolve it with allowing them to pay a reduced amount. But in any event, they sued us in federal district court, alleging that our ordinance is unconstitutional. The amounts we're talking about are not substantial. The two properties, the water bills are approximately $2,500. Whether or not they're seeking to recover other water bills that they have paid pursuant to this ordinance in years past, I'm not sure. In any event, I've turned it over to our insurance department, or our insurance carrier, who has hired lawyers out of Columbus to help defend along with myself in federal district court. And I'll just keep you apprised of that. But right now, that is current litigation.
Okay, thank you, Bob. There are no other questions.
I just suggest if we have any accounts with whatever bank is suing us as a city, we probably need to move those accounts somewhere else.
Yeah. We've already
I
actually,
agree.
I've talked to the auditor about that. We don't have that many. And it will be public knowledge of what bank that is and how they support their local community by filing a lawsuit against us. So it will be public at the time. I think it needs to be public, and we definitely, a community works together and doesn't sue each other. So that's my thoughts exactly.
Okay, anything else? Jeff?
Okay, Mark and I are part of the land bank, and we met today. First, to answer Mike's question, that property, if the city has property, it's my understanding if we sell it, we have to open up bid process and anybody can bid on that property. So what the land bank is able to do as a private entity under the county, those properties can go to them. They can actually sell it have a realtor sell it, but the land bank can go in and adjust the prices where we can't do that as a city. So what I was bringing to you tonight is we have 4 parcels right now in the city that are building lots. Well, 3 and a 4 foot section, I guess, that are building lots that we would like to approach council about turning those over to the land bank. And the reason we want to do that is right now, those are owned by the city, so they're not into the tax base. So they're just property that we're having to maintain, where if we can get them into the hand of the land bank and then they can get a buyer for them, it gets them back into the tax program where the community is reaping benefits from it. The properties we have that are vacant right now to move that we have ownership of is 610 South Lawn, 651 Poplar, and then 710 Elm and 742 Elm. 710 Elm has a small 4 foot section beside it, so it's in 2 parcels. We need to combine those parcels, but that makes that lot then a 50-foot lot. So we only have one right now under our ordinance that is buildable, and that's the one at 742 Elm. But we do have the ability to do variances on those because the rest of them are like 48 foot. They're only like 2 foot shy of being what our ordinance is. So, you know, my suggestion would be on the one on 5th Street and at 5th and or 6th and Locust would be to get that. And when we get ownership of it, get that into the hands of the land bank. And then the land bank today, last month, we put out an RFP to all the local realtors in town to represent the land bank as our real estate agent. There was 2 proposals came back. There's some negotiation going on, and I would guess at next month's meeting, we will appoint a realtor for the land bank, and then that realtor can move forward and advertise those properties, and that would be who they would need to go through to buy them. But it's a lot cleaner way for us to move our properties. I realize we've got money in these properties for tearing them down, but we're not going to get anything for them. People's not going to buy them, you know, from us, I don't think, at a bid program. So at some point in time, I talked to Bob today, at some point in time, council will have to take some action to allow Mark or Max to sign the deeds over. And we'll work on that and probably bring that next council meeting.
Jeff, I have a question.
Yes.
How does that bring us back into the tax base again?
Well, right now, there's nobody paying property taxes on those. So, you know, we don't get a lot back from property taxes, but at least the community would start reaping money back on taxes. Whereas it is right now, all we're doing is maintaining the properties by mowing them, and they're not doing anybody any good.
Okay, thank you.
No, and the land bank basically opens up the opportunity to make them marketable, and it gets out of the bid process. It more when we release those to the land bank actually is the marketability piece, and that's who it's a little looser process. It's not as stringent as a bidding process, and here's what you have to take. It basically takes those properties back into the open market, and then where a realtor would market those properties and actually just sell them on the open market instead of tying our hands into a bidding process. The land bank utilizes the open market more than our bidding process that we're tied down to. Did I say that right, Bob?
Yes, you said it perfect.
Okay. I've been working on that, so.
Chad, you
Hey,
had a
Jeff,
question?
since you mentioned we're responsible for mowing. This
Yes.
time of year, are we responsible for sidewalks and so forth?
Yes, we would be. We'd be responsible. I don't know that that's getting accomplished, but we would be responsible for keeping sidewalks clean and clear.
Thank you.
The
Question?
residents on South Lawn. I talked to a few of those residents that live on the other side. Would it be possible to split that lot into 3 different, for those people to have, like Jimmy Green, for them to have a backyard?
I think right now, the way our ordinance reads, I don't know that we can actually split those lots that size. That'd be a question for Bob. And again, we probably can, but we can't offer to those people to buy them. You know, we'd have to go highest bid, And if there was someone else that wanted to bid over them and buy the whole piece of property, then that takes them out of the equation. So it makes it a lot easier to work it through the land bank, and then the land bank has to have those lots split.
Okay.
And I would say that it would be better for the community if we can put those in the land bank and then sell them to somebody that might be interested in building a house, rather than simply carve up a lot 3 different ways so that it just goes on the tax base as an empty lot. That's probably not going to benefit the community that much. It may be the only thing realistic for some of the properties, but let the land bank decide that issue rather than us.
That lot's 191 feet deep, so that's a pretty good sized lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to ask, this might be a question that I should ask Tiffany, but I'll throw it out to Mark and Max. Has anyone contacted the owners of the market on Old 16 that burned to see if they would be interested in relocating their business in town? You know, take them around, show them what's available?
Ironically, Roger, about 3 weeks before that devastating fire, I had a conversation with the owner on a Saturday morning and said, hey, you need to come into town. I've talked to different real estate people. I've talked to Lanny Spalding, the director of our town, and that's the contact needs to be made to where that would be a beautiful and perfect store downtown. I've talked to people who own property downtown and have tried to sell that. So I've definitely, me personally, I was working on that before it burnt to the ground. So Jamie, the owner, actually wants a highway location, and whatever we can do to help them out, that's what we're going to do. So definitely that conversation was had even before the catastrophic fire out there. So people are working behind the scenes on that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything further? All right, thank you. Clerk, do you have anything for us, Jerry?
I do. The state auditors came in my office today and were asking if we had completed our public records training for this term. I told them not that I am aware of. Kaylee, were you the one?
Yeah, and when I went online, it said it was postponed because of COVID. Now, I haven't checked recently within the last month or so, but when I did, it had been postponed.
That's what I told her. I thought that it had been delayed some because of the pandemic. Okay, well, we got 10 months, but we've got to get it done.
Okay, I'll check in and see if they have it.
And then when you
updated the website.
Okay, when you get your certificate, you can either give it to me or just give me a copy of it.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Haley, can I say, I think you need to be sure to mention that you're covering each council person and you have to identify them by name.
By name, okay.
Yeah, just be sure to do that. I know they specifically stated that to me last time too.
Okay, thanks, Sherry.
Any other questions or comments on that? Thank you, Chair. Let me say before we go to the committees, Ms. Salmon was chairman of the Finance Committee and has been for quite a number of years. So I'm going to see if we can't have that position filled by the next council meeting. So I'll be talking to some folks here on council, see what your interests are and what direction you're looking at. So we'll get together and talk about that. But we will have someone next council meeting that'll chair that position. And we want to thank Ms. Salmon for doing a wonderful job as chairperson of that committee.
Mr. Biggers, this is Glenn. I was going to ask about her various assignments. A lot of things that need to be taken care of.
All right.
Not just chairmanships, but committee assignments.
Yeah, well, we try to go 2 years. And then the next 2 years, we try to change up. We have some new people on council now. So considering that also as chairpersons, they got a pretty good handle on what's going on. So we're going to look for them to step up and take some chairmanship on that. So, yeah, we want to divide it up where everybody gets an opportunity to share something.
Thank you.
All right.
Cliff, can I just say, I just checked here real quick, and the Auditor of State's website under the fiscal, the trainings and so forth, there isn't any schedule out there yet for 2021. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it.
Okay. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Ordinance Committee, anything?
No, I know I looked at the proposed ordinances for next meeting dealing with taxi cabs and demolition properties. And I think those are two areas that need to be addressed. And I don't know about anyone else on the ordinance committee, but I totally support those two ordinances proposals.
I do too. I agree.
Very well. Finance Committee, who's second chair of it?
I think me
Okay.
or
Anything?
Chad, not that I know of.
Okay. Infrastructure,
Nothing tonight.
okay. Economic and Grants Development,
No, nothing tonight.
Housing and Property Maintenance. Nothing. Safety Services Committee,
Nothing.
Parks and Recreation Committee,
Nothing.
the Insurance Committee. Anybody on the Insurance Committee?
That was one of Jackie's.
All right, nothing. Rules Committee?
No, sir.
All right, is there anything further for a working session that you want to bring up?
I would like to ask the question, are we getting any closer to going live? I mean, one-on-one with each other.
I hear you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that money spent at the fire station to get things set up, and then that kind of fell through.
Is there any way we can use the old Hopewell building? I mean, is that a county building?
Well, I think the fire station is set up for us. It's just that we weren't clear to use that. There were some council persons that approached me personally and said they were uncomfortable.
Okay.
Using it that quick. I mean, it was pretty quick. They got it together nice, and it would work. But I think we need to follow protocol. If there's still an issue out there, we want to make sure we're following protocol on that. And Director, Father Rick, do you have any information on that, or what we can look at?
To my knowledge, the state has not changed their protocols other than the curfew. But I don't know that we're precluded from meeting in person as long as we can socially distance.
I think it was set up for that, definitely, with masks and hand sanitizer, and that's what the fire chief set it up for. If you have a chance to take a look at it, go over and take a look at it. But it has a separate desk and place for.
I was down there and the chief really has that well organized. Just-
Yeah.
And entry and exit would be, in my mind, the only issue.
Right. The fire station, I think, comes down to handicap accessibility is the major thing, being down the basement. So it was kind of a great idea, and then we're cutting off that accessibility. So I don't want to say we're setting ourselves up, but I think that was a major issue with that. I'm all for it, Chad. I just want to give you a big hug, you know?
Well, I feel like we can't talk like the way we need to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Just can't have our discussions like we should. And I think we need to get back to one-on-one, everybody's.
Yeah, and if we meet as a council, we can still stream live, right, Mark?
Right.
That way,
Yeah.
if people can still watch live, so. I don't know.
Yeah, and I
That's
mean,
an option.
my administration's completely not at all. We can't not follow the rules, though. That's where it's at. We have to be the example, and I agree completely with everything you guys said, but we have to do it in a way where we're not, our government's not telling people, hey, you do this, and then we're going to do whatever the hell we want to do. We just can't do that. So that's like the major major thing with me. We could meet publicly as a group and then live stream it, meet here in council chambers and live stream it. And that way we still have public input, and then we could keep, the possibility of too many people being here. That way we wouldn't have to police it. But I don't know, it's kind of a council decision, but I'm on board with whatever you guys feel that we need to do.
State
Bob, let me ask you.
website still says 10
One at a
people.
time.
State website still says 10 people maximum to meet. So there's 14 on here right now. So, council could certainly meet, and the mayor and service director, but some other folks will still have to be on by Zoom.
And isn't it that, didn't they set the law that we could meet this in this format until July, but then after July, they're going to reevaluate it? And then plus, I thought we took the steps that we could for downstairs at the fire department to, just like Kaylee said, just to stream live. It's all set up for us, ready to go to stream live, and just for us to meet, because I think we have 14 to 16 tables down there. Each person has their own table, all socially distanced. I didn't think the intent was, it wasn't for to have the public to come down there for us to continue to stream live, but just for us to be face to face if we could.
No, and I agree. Now that I've said that and thought about it, Sherry, I agree with that completely. We could stream from the basement of the fire station and then take public input like we've been doing with questions at cityofcoshocton.com, and we can all meet. If everyone wants to agree to that, there's plenty of room down there to social distance, and then it's set up to stream, and we would just basically all be in the same room. So
From my understanding, Jeff's saying that the current protocols is that we should not have more than 10 people. So at least a few of us would still have to appear by Zoom. And of course, any council person that would be worried about their health in that type of environment could also appear by Zoom, but we'd have to keep it at 10.
And I'll say we spent nearly $14,500 and, computer equipment and everything of the CARES Act money to get this up and to be able to utilize that. So we did spend that money with that purpose, for us to be down there and to stream live. So it's all set up, ready to go. But we have to do what the law says too, or recommend.
It's like Mayor said, it's the council's call. You just have to be 10 or under.
Is
and
that
of course, you probably have to be wearing masks.
Is 10 or
Yes,
under
I think that's
law
part of
or
it.
recommendation?
I've been told I act like I'm 10 or under. Does that help?
According to the state website, state health department website, I looked at it. It is still maximum of 10 people gatherings.
Okay,
It's an order, health department order.
okay, so we'll have to wait. Good place, but we'll have to wait to get in there.
And I know it'd be better to meet in person, but if you start streaming with the 10 of you in a room, then you're going to have to be wearing masks, and it's going to make communication over Zoom a little bit more difficult. So it's up to you, though.
Anybody in disagreement with that? I would agree, Director, that we need to hold up. It's still a pandemic out there.
I guess.
Okay, I have 6:46, 6:45. Anything further for anyone? Matt?
Mr. President, we did get a question in from Ken Smales. In our taxi cab ordinance, we use the word ride sharing as taxi cabs. In our mind, writing that, unless Bob or Cherry or Mark disagrees, we was talking about like Uber and Lyft as being ride sharing. He wanted to know if that included people that haul Amish or companies that provide transportation for factory workers like they was doing for Fanatics. But in my mind, it was all about the Uber and Lyft is what we was calling ride sharing. So
I'm the one who added that term. And it's been a while since you had me write that ordinance, so I'll need to look at it again to make sure it probably excludes those types of situations.
Okay.
Yeah, I just felt as the ride share with Uber and Lyft, with the evolution of taxis and then the ride share companies, it evens the playing field. If you're going to haul someone around, regardless if you're a local taxi or you're an Uber or a Lyft, basically you're just subject to inspection. And it just levels the playing field. If we're asking this organization or this business to follow these standards, then we're just asking, a national corporate level company to follow the same exact standards. So I think that just levels the playing field.
Anything further? All right, and now that'll go ahead and end our committee meeting. I have 6:47. 6:47. We'll meet back here at 7 p.m. Pardon me?
7, yep.
7 o'clock. We'll see you at 7. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Gross,
Yes.
I just saw your request and I resent it. I tried to call your cell phone, but I didn't get an answer.
Okay, thank you. I did get it.
Oh, good.
I know you'd sent it, but I lost it. Somehow or another, I lost it somewhere in the black hole that appears once.
Right, it happens, no problem. Ms. Moore. Your order in the roll call has changed because I roll call how y'all would set at council.
Don't want to mess up your order.
Well, I just didn't want to, you're so used to going after Andrews. I didn't want to throw you off.
All right.
Good evening, Sheriff Crawford. Welcome aboard again.
Good evening. It's glad to be here.
Michelle, are we supposed to announce the free jewelry for Valentine's Day at Dean's tonight? Or is it...
Oh, maybe not tonight.
Oh, I already handed out flyers.
I thought that was only for certain people.
There is a free vacation though, if you spend $1,000 or more.
Looks like we have 1 minute.
That's cutting her off.
Right.
Cliff, this is Glenn. I did just send you an email request.
Yes, I saw it. I'll look at it.
Okay, no hurry.
I have 7 p.m. Today is February the 8th, 2021. This is our Zoom conference video meeting for City Council of Coshocton. I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Gross.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Andrews.
Here.
Barcroft.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Mishler.
Here.
Mr. Mishler, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Will you all stand, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gross will lead us in the invocation.
Yes. Father God, we thank you again for the opportunity to serve our city in this capacity. Guide and direct us in each one of us and everything we say and do tonight. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Let me get on screen here. There we are. We have the minutes from January 25th, 2021. Are there any corrections, deletions, additions?
No, I'll make a motion the minutes be accepted.
Moved by Mr. Johnson. Is there a second?
I'll
Mishler.
second.
Ms. Turner seconds. Anything further? Clerk, call the roll.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Abstain.
Turner.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Those minutes are approved as given. Before we move further into public comments, I'd like to welcome Mr. Barcroft to Council at Large. Welcome to the family of Coshocton.
Thank you.
We see you excited. I know you're going to do a wonderful job. I see your council meetings. Hopefully we can get live again, but I think you'll do a wonderful job. Also, I want to mention Mr. Moore has moved to a different position and appointed to the 3rd Ward. And he's a familiar face, but he's been here for a little bit. So we appreciate you, Roger, and we're looking forward to y'all working in your new positions.
Thanks, Cliff. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Roger.
Clerk, are there any public input?
Yes, sir. I do think I emailed this out to council. It's from Dan Helmick. And his question is, at a council meeting, it was suggested to paint blue lines on our city streets to honor our local law enforcement. Has anything been done on that?
Safety Committee, anything on that?
This is Glenn. I would really like to see that considered. Where I've seen it in other cities, it's between the yellow lines down the middle of the street. It wouldn't have to be all over the street, but maybe down Main Street, maybe down 2nd Street, maybe down Chestnut in front of the sheriff's office. I think it'd be a nice, small representation.
Having a background in law enforcement, I'm sure the sheriff understands this too. It'd be highly appreciated to see the public really supporting their local police officers. They need it now more than ever. When I retired over 11 years ago, it was nothing close to what these guys and gals are going through now. So anything that will give them some encouragement would be a great help. And that's something that's taken a watch over the country. So we can figure out something to do. I think that's a good idea to come up with something like that.
How would we proceed on that?
Well, safety, do we need, law director, do we need to do anything particular? If we're going to change something like the street mapping or lines?
Well, I guess I'd like to see how other communities have done it. It seems to me that if you're changing the way a street is lined, then you might be changing how traffic is legally able to travel those streets. But has anyone looked at other communities to see if they pass any laws with respect to how streets are lined? Because most of those linings are pursuant to the Ohio Administrative Code.
Right, right. Safety Committee, will you take a look at that?
I'll look into it, yes.
Okay, Chad, thank you so very much. Because I think it's a good gesture, but I would agree with the law director.
Yeah, a suggestion would be maybe like Glenn said, the one part in front of the sheriff's office, like around the court square, just those 4 blocks, 4th Street, Main Street, Chestnut Street, that go around the court square, maybe. I don't know, just a suggestion.
That's a good one, Kayla.
Keep in mind, 3rd Street is part of the state highway.
Oh, yeah.
If you get into that, you would probably have to bring ODOT into that discussion as well.
Okay, thanks, Max.
I can't comment on Ohio code, but it just seems that unless there are specific overriding reasons, as long as you have a solid yellow line, what's in between the solid yellow line shouldn't matter.
Well, safety's going to take a look at that.
I'll look into it.
Okay, well, that's good. I think it's a good gesture. I think we should at least discuss.
Thank you, Chad.
To come up with something. Okay, very good. Anything else on public input?
Would you like for me to read the letter from Jackie Salmons now? Or
If you would, Madam Clerk, yes.
Okay, Jackie asked me to read this. Dear President Biggers, City Council, Mayor Mills, Department Heads, Max, and Cherry, I wanted to let you know it has been my sincere pleasure to work with you all during my time on City Council, and I will miss our Mondays together. Congratulations to Tom and Roger on their appointments. I am confident they will represent the citizens well. You all are doing amazing work, and there is so much to be proud of in Coshocton. If I can be of assistance in the future, please do not hesitate to reach out. Best regards and keep in touch, Jackie Salmons.
That's a very nice letter.
It was.
We'll thank Jackie on that. I'm sure we'll do something from council in the near future. just to let her know how we appreciate her. Okay, is there anything else, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
All right, we have an addition for the agenda. We need to add 1-21, the resolution. 1-21, I'll entertain any discussion on that resolution and then the motion.
I'll make a motion. We add 1-21.
Move you to add 1-21. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Johnson seconds. Is there anything further? Clerk, call the roll.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Resolution 1-21 is added to the agenda. Thank you. Any standing committee reports? If there is none, we'll go to the mayor's report.
Just the couple million things I had in committee to go over, just exciting things going on here with the community. A couple things I want to mention. Tomorrow, me, myself, and Max Crown will be riding a Coshocton County Coordinated Transportation Agency bus around town, celebrating Ohio Loves Transit Week. That is February 7th through the 14th. And just wanted to give a shout out to Valerie Shaw and the work she's done moving people around not only our city, but county and the state of Ohio. So the work they do is phenomenal. It's kind of a department that you don't see or hear anything about. And they have improved the lives of people within our community. And I'm very excited to get on the bus in the morning. So you will see some video of me, and I hope we meet some exciting new people. So if you have any complaints for my administration or for me personally, I will be on the bus at about 9 a.m. in the morning. So looking forward to that. With the winter, I know we all love snow and we all love shoveling snow. Residents are in charge of shoveling their walks and keeping their walks clear. With that said, we learn something new every day. So here at City Hall, we have been taking calls about our own sidewalks, our walking paths at the parks. We're going to try and work to improve outdoor accessibility to our parks walking paths. Main Street is another thing with shoveling. There are some empty buildings on Main Street, so I don't know how we approach, getting things cleaned up down there when there's actually not a property owner for some of the buildings. So that has been a situation for us. Just wanted to reach out and mention that to property owners to shovel your walks. You may drive everywhere, but kids walking to school, people walking, I'd rather see them on the sidewalk walking than in the middle of the street walking. I got my approval rating back from WTNS this week. Was very glad to be part of the question of the week. I'm pretty satisfied with my approval rating. Definitely want people to understand. One of the biggest things that was said that we needed was jobs. We have a great web page through JFS. Ohio Means Jobs, and there's usually over 100 jobs available on that website. And yes, you might not make $100 an hour starting out, but at some point, if you excel and make yourself better and get educated and show up, just showing up a lot of times will excel your career path. And just want people to know that there are jobs available here. And yes, a lot of entry level positions that don't pay $100 an hour. But if you work hard and you show up and you act like you care, at some point, you'll probably make more money. So another beauty of our situation, the silver lining of the pandemic, becomes you can work from anywhere. So we're seeing a lot of people moving into our community, and they can work from a laptop anywhere. So the problem that we have, there was an article in the Tribune about housing and finding housing. We're busting themes, and I'm ready to grow this city. Definitely, you know, a lot of our mindset has always been we need a big factory. To me, I just need 500 people moving here to work from their laptop, and that creates jobs and that creates income tax for our city. So I take the pandemic, you know, with a grain of salt, and there's always a silver lining in every situation. I just ask that, you know, a lot of people depend on me. I'm one, you know, there's a lot of people who can get involved. If you want to make a change, if you want to see the change, then I ask that you be a part of the change. If you need something from City Hall or you need something from your government, you can go to cityofcoshocton.com. You can call us. There's not a day that I don't return an email or a phone call, and I am here for the people, and that's what I was elected to do. And one of the reasons sitting in this chair is because I wanted to be part of the change. So I welcome our community to become part of that change. And if you need something, reach out. A lot of times I want the community to also know that we cannot fix anything that we are not aware of. I don't have a crystal ball on my desk. I don't know everything. So if you need something, reach out to council, reach out to myself, reach out to whoever, become involved, and be part of the change. Also, on a side note, I emailed Sheriff Crawford today after he emailed me reports. I really enjoyed them. I moved the sheriff's office from the level of okay to good. And I put that in email to Sheriff Crawford. So thank you. You're doing well. Like to see the reports, like to see what's going on, like to see the map of where things are happening. And I can tell the public things that shouldn't be happening are happening in every corner of our town. And if we want to honor law enforcement, let's stop beating up on our family. Let's get off of drugs, and let's stop trying to steal from other hardworking people. So that's what I ask people to honor the sheriff's department and stop working them to death and just living right and build a better community together by doing things we need to be doing together instead of negative things that affect all of us, not only as a community, but also as a law enforcement community. So thank you. If anyone has any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Any questions for the mayor?
Not a question, but Mr. Mayor, it's slightly premature, but for the first time in 25 years I've been living here, I'm about to be locally employed. Stay tuned.
Awesome.
All right, anything further? That's good. All righty. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Service Director and Safety?
Yeah, I forgot to welcome and congratulate Tom Barcroft at our committee meeting. So I've worked with Tom for several years through our town, so he'll be a great addition to council and look forward to working with him. I appreciate you guys putting the resolution on for the ODOT State Route 16 repair. That's for some full depth repairs before they actually do the paving this year. So I appreciate it, and I'm sure they will too. Like I said, Westlake Ed update, we're pushed back a little bit, getting the residents hooked up to the new line just due to the weather. They'd like it to be above freezing when they do that work. We did get the 5 insertion valves installed, so we'll be minimizing the disruption of the village residents' water flows. So that was a good thing. And the wireless tower, the antenna for the top of the tower did end up coming in. we've been waiting on that, and that'll be installed by the end of February. So that's all I have tonight. Other than looks like we're going to get 4 inches of snow tonight, and everybody needs to drive careful. We've got plenty of salt, and we've already got the crews lined up for tonight, but please be careful driving.
Thank you.
Yep.
Director. Any questions? Thank you for that report. I will have the law director's report.
I have nothing tonight other than what I mentioned at committee meeting, unless there's questions.
Any questions for the law director? Thank you. I see Sheriff Crawford is here with us. Good to have you again, sir. Do you have a report to give us?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're on.
Thank you, President Biggers. And good evening, everyone. I did submit my report. Hopefully everyone received that. I know that I did not have Tom's email in my list, so I will get that. If anyone has any questions on my report, please ask. I'd be happy to answer. Likewise, if there's something that you would like to see and you're not seeing yet, please let me know so I can include that as well.
Any questions for the sheriff?
I just have a comment. I was out over the weekend and I seen a lot of patrol cars, and I think that's a good thing. I think I seen more than I've seen in a long time. So keep up the work.
Yes, sir. Happy to do it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sheriff?
Yes, sir.
A few years ago, we received I think it was a 4-county report on a drug report on the escalation of various drugs in, I think it's a 4-county or 3-county report. I was wondering if something like that has been updated and is available to council members again.
Yes, sir. That would be our code report.
Okay, is that something that could be emailed to council members and?
Yes. Let me look into that. I don't know that I have a digital format.
Okay.
But if I can create a digital format, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Anything further for the sheriff? Any questions, comment? Thank you, Sheriff, for that report. Appreciate it. Auditor's report.
Good evening. I sent out to the council members their information for January. So you should have received the cash statement into January 29th and the bank report for January 29th, along with detailed check report for January 6th, January 21st, and I believe there was one other short one for the 21st and the 26th. There was one then and now report for the 21st. Those, if there's any questions I can answer. If not, they just need to be approved in the minutes.
Any questions for the auditor?
Mishler, move that we approve those as submitted.
Been moved by Mr. Mishler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Johnson, second. Is there anything further? Clerk, call the roll.
I'm sorry, can you tell me again who the second was?
Mr. Johnson.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Those records and reports will be added to the minutes. Property code inspector.
I have nothing further than what our discussion was at committee meeting. If you have any questions, I'll certainly try to answer those.
Anything from Mr. Corder? All righty. Moving right along. We have no first reading, second, or third reading tonight. We do have one resolution, 1-21. I would ask the clerk to read the resolution 1-21.
A resolution giving preliminary consent on project PID number 95464 for State Route 16.
You heard the resolution being read. Is there any discussion? Being there's no discussion on this resolution, clerk, will you call the roll?
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Resolution 1-21 is adopted. Thank you. Is there any old business? Any new business?
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Tom. Good to see you.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody has made me feel very welcome, and I do appreciate that. And I'll get up to speed here before long.
I'll be next week.
Yes.
Good to have you, Tom.
Thank you.
Any communications from council?
I had just forwarded an email that I got while we were on the call tonight. I know a couple people have responded, but I forwarded to everybody on council and Bob and Mark and Max. I received an email during our meeting that says I have attached the current Ohio Department of Health order that allows for in-person council meetings. And it is highlighted within that article. So if we just want to check that out and see if that applies to us.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. We appreciate you looking at that. Any other communications from council? Any from the administration? Any communications from the clerk?
Can I read all the reports that were emailed to council, please?
If you would, please.
Okay, the mayor's report was emailed February the 3rd. Property code investigator, February the 8th. Municipal court's annual report was mailed out February the 2nd, and then a supplement February the 5th. Income tax, January the 29th. And of course, Sheriff Crawford already said his today.
Thank you. Those will be recorded in the minutes. Is there anything further?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Mishler.
Yes, before we adjourn, I've been hearing an unusual amount of static and distortion tonight. Is there something wrong on my end, or have other people been hearing that?
I think it's your end, Glenn.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Glenn, I think everybody should keep themselves muted. If you keep yourself muted when you're not talking, that's why you're not going to get so. But I can see several people tonight have been unmuted, so I think that's probably what's doing it. So if you're not talking, I think it says to help if you keep yourself muted.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, Madam Clerk, if you can give us the next date for our next meeting, committee.
February the 22nd at 6 p.m.
January 22nd at 6. If we have nothing further, make sure you write that date down somewhere. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Move, there a second?
Second, Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
You guys play nice, and we'll see you on the 22nd.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Good to
night.
have our audience.
See ya.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.